In my last video, I tried to use this and smoked out my entire basement, and I suffered for 3 days from the burnt leather smell. I then went on to explain that I should not have underestimated the fumes created from lasers and burning and put everything to a halt. Thanks to something that cost like 40 bucks, I'm going to give this another shot. Put it over there and vent it out that window. It may take a few zip ties, duct tape, and general f***ery to get it done, but I'm gonna do it. By the way, see that? That's just a lot of weight in a generally not safe setup. My last video got cut short before I could have a chance to cut acrylic because of ventilation. And I really want to do this. All right, look at that. Ooh, I'm glad that's big because I did not look at how big it was and I kind of got worried for a second. But I think this is big enough. And it's stable and sturdy and I like it. This is really half the battle because most of it's just gonna be venting it out there. But first step, right? Ta-da! Look at that. Look at that. Oh man, I can't believe this was so cheap. Actually, I can't believe I almost wasted the time trying to build this with a 3D printer because that would have been dumb. Stage 2, vents. Now I've actually been down this road before and I kind of sort of have some stuff that I think should work. I've never actually put it to the test, but I think it should work. So hopefully I'm good. This is my server room where I actually got a little sidetracked and I ended up trying to use it. It's a long story, but this is basically the thing that I need, I think. More or less like that. Should still work. Oh, I got this little thing right here. I got a little bit of a problem. I basically have a Chihuahua, trying to get with a Great Dane. So I'm pretty sure I do not have a smaller adapter for this, but it's been so long and I don't know where the original box is. So I might have one, but I don't. I'm gonna have to make this work, but still, the hole's too big. Duct tape to the rescue! Okay, that's a 3D printer. Jiminy Christmas, that was crazy. All right, interesting. Well, it's not pretty, but I don't feel any drafts. I think that's good. And now in here, which might have just been easier, maybe, cut a hole, I guess, I don't know. This has a fan. I think that's how it goes. So the end result is that, and then I can put that tip right there. There you go. That's pretty much it. I think the first thing I'm gonna do is burn some wood just to see how the smoke dissipation is and then kind of go from there. There's definitely a lot of smoke. I can smell it, but it's not nearly as smoky. Actually, it's not really smoky at all. So I think it's working, although not perfectly. Like you can't see it, but there is definitely some smoke in the air and I can definitely smell it. So I think I need a stronger fan. Something to really draw that out because that is not keeping up. This is pretty close to where I ended up the first time. I bought this stuff back when I was gonna do this and then I hooked up the fan and I ran it and then I tried to vent the air and it just wasn't really enough. Same thing that's happening right here. The air is just not flowing enough. So I'm burning wood right now. That's not a big deal, but the leather thing, it kind of screwed up my house for like 3 days. So I don't want to do that again just yet, at least not with this fan. There's a 90% chance that I'm gonna not use most of this or I'm gonna have to go get more stuff. But the great thing about that is I can take everything back and if it doesn't work, then YOLO, or I could use duct tape and hey, you know, this is work. So yeah, let's go get it. Don't even ask. It didn't work. It was not even close to what I needed to make any sort of an exhaust fan. So I just got to rip that down and I didn't bring any tools. So I'm just going to manhandle it. And there you go. Just rip it off. It is what it is. Oh, there we go. Yeah, one-handed balance. So I want to take this piece of siding. I want to cut it to length and then inside my window, see how that slides out? I want to put that board probably right up against this edge, follow the edge all the way up, and then right up against that edge, right? And then I'm going to secure it up against that, which sounds great in theory. However, something you have to realize about windows is that whenever you open this up, you might not be able to see it, but you see that gap right there between the window and the other window. This is nothing but just an open draft now. So I have to figure out a way in order to have this window open, to have the piece of wood on there, and also seal this up. I came with a perfect solution. Long time ago when I was redoing my garage, I bought these like protector thingies that I was gonna put on the wall just in case I door ding, never actually used them, but they are actually just thick enough to shove into the window. Like they're basically insulation. So most I'm gonna have to do is cut it just to make sure I have enough to go all up and down, and that's it. So problem solved. End to end, it is 45 3/4. Got that marked. I think this is big enough. Before you judge too hard, I just want you to remember that I make a lot of this stuff up as I go along. So I think these are gonna be the perfect insulators. I mean, seriously, just like that. I'll probably clean that or whatever, because these have sticky backs, but that'll give it a nice thing to just push up against. But I'm gonna leave this open, just like this. I left that open because underneath there is the drain, so when rainwater gets in, it drains out. So just one more seal. It's gonna go on the back of this, and I think I have my board solution totally in play. Now that I got the sealant figured out, I have to worry about venting it out, because I don't want to have to take this in and out. So I went to Home Depot a little bit ago and I got this. So if you see in here, when air flows, it opens up, right? And I thought to myself, hey, that's perfect. That way when it's not on, it'll seal up for the most part, and I won't just have airflow coming in. So there's one problem though. This thing does not have, even though it's pretty decent, does not have the ability to push those open. All right, it doesn't have the airflow, not even a little bit to push those open. I know I'm holding it weird, but there you go. See, it barely even actually, it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't have the airflow. It doesn't have the pressure to push those open. I looked at the spring, right? I have a bunch of different springs, but none of the springs are soft enough to actually return it back to where it needs to be, but also allow it to open up easier. So I'm either A, gonna have to return this and try to find a better solution, or B, come up with my own solution so I can continue working tonight. All right, have you ever used a wire as a drill bit? Because the drill bit that you have doesn't go all the way. So I just did that. Now, I just kind of got this started, attached these to the sides. These are just some aluminum things, and I'm put one right there or something like that. I don't really know. I'm making this up as I go along, but anyways, so this is gonna attach to the wall. Air is gonna go up, the tube's gonna come down, and then that other tube is gonna come out the bottom, and then that will split. And I wanna put this over near where the laser engraver is, and I'll kind of show you more how that's gonna look later, but that is so far my mounting solution. That's pretty much where it's gonna go, and it's gonna sit just like that. Maybe 12 drywall anchors was a little bit too much, 6 on each side. Maybe I just have a severe lack of faith in drywall and it's unrealistic, but that thing is solid, and I think it's in a pretty good spot. Red Solo Cup. I'm double wrapping it because, I mean, these are pretty thin, but it fits in the hole. All I gotta do is cut it, and then I can attach this. It's gonna work. Trust me, bro, it's gonna work. Perfection. For better or for worse, it's set up. It is held together with aluminum tape, and that's, yeah, I mean, it is kind of is what it is, but both sides are hooked up, and now I'm gonna turn it on, which, by the way, I'm up for ideas on this thing because I made these valves to where I can open them, but the problem is that if there's any draft in the house, it kind of like opens them anyways. So I even tried to put tape on it to hold it, but that obviously did not work. So anyways, so that opens the valves. I'm gonna plug that in. Got my little controller knobby thingy. Okay, perfect. So, I mean, it's going up, down, over there, and then out there, all the way out to the very end, and hopefully being exhausted enough. So, yeah, it's definitely doing some flames. I've seen a couple flames come on, and then I see smoke, but this ventilation thing is working really well. I can kind of smell burnt wood, but barely. I can just barely smell it. So I think this was a success, even though I have to fix that. But this is nice. Fast forward through some squirrels, and here's what I'm gonna do, finally reaching my goal of cutting acrylic. I was watching JR Go in one of his videos, and I saw his logo, and I randomly thought to myself, that would be interesting to cut, just because of the complexity. I couldn't actually find the raw file, so I screenshotted and recreated everything with Adobe Illustrator. So it's not exactly his logo, but it's pretty close. Also, because I knew that I was cutting this, I was gonna try to cut it, I did make some changes, that way stuff would stick, but I don't really know how well this is gonna work out. Also, since this has been installed for the better part of a week, I can tell you, it is not good. Everything about it is terrible. It's cold over here. My basement is colder. It's the worst thing ever. So whenever I'm done with this, I'm gonna take this down. All of my thoughts and ideas of how this is totally gonna work out did not work out. Let's say the top of his head right there. That is right there. And then the very bottom, like the very, very bottom right here. Boom. For the settings, I'm basically moving at 180 millimeters a second, and it's just full power, vectorized cut mode. So it says estimated time at 26 minutes. It almost seems like it's not cutting. Okay, it's a little weird not having smoke and smelling what you're actually cutting. So part of me thinks it's not working because I can't smell it. That's a good thing though. That's the whole purpose of this video. But I'm not sure if it's cutting. I kind of have to wait till it's done to see if it's cutting or if I'm wasting my time. And if it didn't cut, do I just run it again? Just not move it? I don't know. We're learning together. Kind of feels like it didn't cut it. I think I'm gonna have to run this again. Eesh. Good luck, bro. All right, so the second time it's running, you see that thing, little piece right there that's kind of like popped up? That looks like it actually cut because it's actually moved. So I think I needed to either run it slower or maybe 2 passes is just kind of the normal thing. Bear in mind, this is the first time ever designing something to be cut out like that. There we go. Here's a moment of truth. Holy bananas. Holy bananas. I can't believe it worked. Look at that. That is just barely hanging on. Oh, I should have made that thicker. I mean, this is really just like step 1. Step 2 is actually taking all of this paper off the top of it and revealing the acrylic. That'll be a challenge without breaking everything. You can also see where I made about halfway through, and I think it would have been a better idea to do it all in one pass. Like, look right there. You see how that kind of like overlapped? I don't know if that's from warping from doing a second time, not lining up perfectly. Not really 100% sure, but I think if I were to redo this again, which now I have some scrap acrylic to try with, I'm gonna do it slower to try to get it all in one pass. Okay. All right, this has been kind of a challenge to do. I still have this little piece, which is just barely hanging on. I don't think it's gonna survive, but I got the rest of it removed on this one side anyway. And yeah, I don't know if that's gonna make it. By some miracle, I was able to get everything off without breaking anything. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it now, but I mean, look at that. That's kind of cool. This is an interesting experience all around. I had to kind of like image trace and then go through and recreate a lot of the logo to make it workable on the software I was using, and to make like the middle of those letters stay in place. And I barely got that to happen, just barely. That right there is just barely hanging on, look at that. So not that I know what I'm gonna do with this knowledge, but I did learn a lot about designing for cutting with acrylic just by working with this logo, which is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. Hi, Kat. Repeat after me. Say, John Ross, please don't sue me for stealing your logo. Yeah? Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up. Like I said, the ventilation solution that I came up with was a horrible idea. It worked for this, but now that I'm done laser cutting for a while, I'm definitely gonna remove it from the window because it is not something I can have there all the time. However, it is technically a solution that will get me by next time I need it. So guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to post it in the comments section down below. And JR, don't sue me. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and have yourself a good day. Made this mold out of silicone. 3D printed the part for it. And once this goes on, so that this is all backwards, once it goes on, it'll be like that, because that's the way it was from the factory. But I wanted to try to get this as clear as possible. This is just a test, honestly, because I need to do it better, but this is kind of freaking interesting.